Hello and welcome back once again. Now today we've got something very special for you. I've got Tina here. A big smile please, Tina. I've got Tina. Now Tina's somebody very unusual because last year she got the Carer of the Year award, and she's a carer and she cares for me, which is some doing, I tell you. Now Tina has got a lot of questions she wants to ask me. She hasn't told me what they are, so they could be quite surprising. And so I'm going to turn you over straight away to Tina, who's going to ask me these different questions, which I hope I have answers for. Over to you, Tina.
Right, thanks, Eric. Right, number one. If you were stranded on an island with 3 people, who would you choose and why?
Well, of course, I'd choose you because you'd look after me.
Yeah.
You'd look after me. And then I think, second one, I think I'd choose a big, healthy man who's good at all jobs, who'd be able to do everything.
Good thinking.
And what would I choose as a third man? Oh, I know, I'd have a man who's got a big boat and a good knowledge of navigation, so when we're all tired, he can put us all aboard and take us back where we want to go.
True.
So then three. They're
Good.
cheating a bit, the last one. But
Number 2. What gets your goat?
what gets my goat? Oh gosh. People who are not happy, I think, because we're all here for happiness, and a lot of people, they've got so many benefits and they don't count their blessings. And I see people who, you know, they've got a good wife or a good husband, they've got children, and yet they're so miserable either because they haven't got enough money, or they can't buy something, or because the house they've got isn't what they want, and they concentrate on the bad things and make themselves even more miserable. And so I think that basically, it's people who go on about that, they don't count their blessings. We've always got more blessings than we can think. I remember in the war, just after the war, do you remember that pilot? He lost both his legs.
No.
And he, you know, imagine losing both your legs, a fit young man, and he had artificial legs fitted, and do you know, he ended up as a sportsman. He said, I'm determined not to let it
Didn't give up.
go. And so we've all got things, so let's count our blessings and put all the nasty things behind us. It's a bit philosophical, but...
Right, next question. Number 3. What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Oh dear, now that's one. What makes me happy? I think just peace and quiet. I sit here, and you can't see it, of course, the people with the camera, but you can see the sea out there, and I sit here and look at the sea, and whatever the weather, it's always lovely, and there are the birds flying by, the seagulls.
Got a lovely
And
view, you're lucky.
I'm lucky, so I count my blessings, but that makes me very happy just to sit quietly and not to worry.
Right. Number 4. Who rules the world, men or women?
Oh, that's an easy one. Women, of course, and that's the secret to happiness.
That was a quick
because
one.
if every man, most men have got a woman in their lives, and if every man every day gave something to that woman, told her he loved her, did something for her, and made her happy, his life would be happy. But so many people make themselves miserable. I mean, to me, one of the worst possible facts of this life is that I think it's the average marriage today lasts 3.5 years. Well, I go back to the day, you know, before the last war, and marriages, if you got married for life. But not today. I mean, they fall out with each other, and it's very sad. But do what your wife wants, my dear, and make her happy. Well, that's not
Not
you,
me.
not you. But do what your husband wants, make him happy.
Number 5.
She's got a lovely husband, by the way.
What do you think of the children of today?
Well, now this is a difficult one, because children today are quite different to children of yesteryear. Now, in years gone by, it used to be children should be seen and not heard, and children were kept in their place right from birth. You know, children would be crying in their cots, they would be wrapped up tightly, laying down. A lot of them used to lay them on their faces, which I used to think was dreadful, because I thought, well, they could smother themselves if they laid them on their. The reason they put them on their faces was because they couldn't cry. It's
Glad I went.
And my good wife, who put up with me for 65 years, as everybody knows, she was amazing to do that. But she, before she married me, she was a nurse with children. When she left school, she went and trained as a baby's nurse. She'd look after 40 babies while mothers went out to work or did things like that. So she was so good with children, but she never used to let them cry, and she used to wrap them up, put them down, and of course, up to the age of 5, a child won't remember anything. It can't remember anything, and that, I think, is nature's way to let you teach your child discipline and the meaning of the word no. I've watched people go along the street in Felixstowe here, and you know, in the pedestrian way in the shopping place, the cars go through there, and they go through terribly quickly. Sometimes they shouldn't do, because it's a pedestrian way, and you hear mother say, come here, get back." The child carries on.
I've been there.
It doesn't take any notice. But you know, in my day, if a mother or father said something to the child, always the exception, they did it.
Yeah.
And they haven't taught that discipline. And that, I think, is where, but some of the children today, their minds are developed, they've got incredible minds, and with what they learn on their computers
gadgets.
and on their gadgets, it's quite incredible. But it's, no, I think children are wonderful. It's, they're a great joy. And or they can be a great burden, my dear. So it's
All right, number 6. Where is your favourite holiday destination and why?
Oh dear, now let me try and think. I think I'm going to answer that by cheating. The best holiday I ever had was on our 50th wedding anniversary, and my wife said exactly the same to you as you said. You know, where shall we go? Where would you like to go? And I said, I'm going to take you somewhere special. And I said, what we're going to do, I'm going to get a round-the-world ticket and go all the way around the world. So that's the best
choice,
and we've had a wonderful travel agent in London, Travel Mood. I think their descendants are still going, and they made an amazing schedule for us. I said, I just want you to go round the world so we don't miss anything, and we go everywhere. But they took it one step further, because every plane we got on, we did it first class naturally, and every plane we got on, the stewardesses immediately produced a bottle of champagne and welcomed us aboard.
They looked after you.
And every plane as well, we were taken, because it wasn't applicable in those days, you know, to terrorism. They used to take us down to the captain and introduce us and let us see in the cockpit.
Oh, nice.
And on one place we landed, they actually let us stay in the cockpit while we landed.
Really?
And so that was an experience where you would never get it again. But that was my cheating answer, is we went round the world, which was
so you've been
fun.
everywhere.
Well, not everywhere,
Nearly.
but the trip was incredible, and much to the credit of this Travel Mood travel agents in London, because they organised it, they did it, and unbelievable.
Oh. Right, number 7. If you could be an animal, what one would you be and why?
Well, this little one here,
You've got a life,
thoroughly spoiled. This is
Got the
Bella,
life.
and she's the most intelligent little dog we've ever had. Outside, you can't see them, and I know how Paul is so good at these things, he might show them to you. We've got 2 Irish wolfhounds, and we always used to have Irish wolfhounds. They're the biggest breed of dogs there is, and when you stand up, you can just put your hand out, and you know, they're up to waist level, absolutely huge. And we always had Irish wolfhounds, and they were amazing dogs, because when we had Collector's World, you know, we built it up from nothing to 80,000 visitors a year, and the visitors used to come just to see Buster, one of these wolfhounds, and he used to plod over to them. We had a big area for picnics and everything like that, and he used to plod over to them, eat all their food, eat their sandwiches, and then plod on to the next little picnic party, do it again. And but I loved but they didn't have the intelligence of this little one. This little one's so clever, it's hardly true. She understands everything. I can say, if I go out, I can say, go to Sue or go to Tina, and I don't have to say it twice. She understands the words I say, and off she comes to you. I mean, she's got so much intelligence, it's hardly true, but I think she was very hard to train, so if you have trouble training a puppy, know that they're probably intelligent. Look, she knows what we're talking about.
Right, number 8. Do you think dreams have a meaning?
Of course they have a meaning. Dreams, people don't realise it. We go and sit on the toilet, don't we?
Right, yeah.
Well, everybody, I can say that about the Queen,
Yeah.
everybody. Why? You get rid of the rubbish from your body, don't you? That's gone through your stomach. Well, when you dream at night, this is the same thing. Your brain is getting rid of the rubbish that you've gone through all in the day. And this is why very often dreams seem to be associated with what we've done or what things we're doing, but it's really, people shouldn't take any notice of them because it's just getting rid of them, just like going and sitting on the toilet, you dream and you get rid of the rubbish out of your mind. That's, and I haven't heard anyone else saying that. This is, this is one of my own theories, but it's true if you think about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It
makes sense.
It makes sense, thank you, my dear.
Right, number 9. Do you have any regrets in life?
The thing in life is not to have any regrets, and the secret of that is never to do anything that you're going to regret.
True. Why does he always make sense?
It's an easy answer, isn't it? Because we're always given options, and there's always a right option, a good thing to do and a bad thing to do. And if you get into the habit of always doing the, you know...
Yeah, but what if you think you're doing the right thing,
well,
but it's the wrong?
Then you don't have to worry about it, do you?
We could go on.
You've done what you thought was right at the time. So there's no need to have any regrets about it.
True.
Do you follow what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm giving you very rough answers to these because...
No, I understand. Right.
I can go on for a lot longer.
I know you can. Right, number 10. You've met some famous people in your time. Who was your favourite and why?
I think that's a very easy one. I have met some very interesting people, but I don't know whether you're probably too young to remember Barbara Cartland.
I remember.
Now, Barbara Cartland to me was a wonderful person because she did so much in her life, and I met her when I was making Norfolk Punch. She actually got one of the first bottles. I don't know where she got. She went out and bought it, I think, and she phoned me up and said, I've had some of your Norfolk Punch, and I hear that you do a sweetmeat, which is, you know, based on it, which is Norfolk Delight, and but I'd very much like to try it. I said, well, I'd bring you some. She lived in Hertfordshire. I went down and I drove down there, which that's a fib. I had a dear friend of mine, Sarah, who drove me down there. And we went in, and this huge drive, went up this great drive, and this huge mansion, and knocked on the door, and there Barbara Cartland, all dressed in pink in her flowing robes, opened the door and took me in, and we became great friends, I'm pleased to say. And I knew her in her 90s, a wonderful woman, and she came. She took the millionth bottle of Norfolk. I was making Norfolk Punch at the time, and she took the millionth bottle off the line for me, with all the publicity entailed with it. And she'd always come and do anything I asked her to do, and I used to go down there regularly. And you know, she did so much good that people didn't know about. She let, at those days they had the travellers, you know, the gypsies, and they were going from pillar to post. Nobody would let them stay on their land, but she always let them stay on her land. Bella, dear, come on, you come back here. Yes, you sit there. She used to let them stay on her land, and she used to look after them, and she always wore pink. And I said to her one day, why do you wear pink? Now, I don't think this is generally known. And she said in 1926, this was the day I was born, the year I was born, so it shows you her age. She said in 1926 they'd just discovered the tomb of Tutankhamun. And so I went into the tomb, and there all the things were pink. Pink and, was it a blue? I can't remember. Pink and blue, but two colours, but the main predominant colour was pink. She said, I was so impressed with it, I said on the spot, I'm going to wear pink. And she wore pink for the rest of her days. It was she was a wonderful soul, and she was a great personality, and so kind and generous, and I can't speak highly enough of Barbara Cartland. And she died, I think, I can't remember, she was 95, 96 when she died, and her full facilities there, and 2 wonderful sons. One son still publishes her books, and of course she used to write, just shows you, every afternoon, we can all take a lesson from her. Every afternoon she would sit down after lunch and dictate to her secretary, but we could write, for 20 minutes. And by writing for that, or dictating for that 20 minutes every day, she used to write up to 70 books a year. And although her books, they're all the same plot and all the same thing, you know, boy meets girl, boy falls in love with girl. I know, but do you know why? Because she was very simple English, and they were sold all over Europe. All the Europeans wanting to learn English, the Barbara Cartland books they read easily, and I think they're still selling in vast quantities. She wrote 750 books in her lifetime. Can you believe 750 books? And but each one is exactly the same.
Done well.
She's a wonderful woman. I can't speak highly enough of her.
Right, number 11. What's the secret to living a long life?
Secret, well, what we've been talking about. Accepting life as it is, always trying to do good, you know, in other words, not to do the wrong thing, and not to indulge yourself, because unfortunately we are addictive prone. And so if you get up in the morning and have a glass of milk, when you've done it 3 or 4 times, it becomes an addiction, so you can't start your day without a glass of milk. If you start overeating, you can't stop it, and you put on weight, and you can't stop that. And so the thing to do really is to be very strict with yourself.
Moderation.
And, well, moderation, but you've got to be strict as well, because you can get out of any habit, and you can get into any habit. And the secret of a long life, and after all, I'm 91 now, and I still enjoy life. I have problems, like as everyone has, but I do enjoy life, and I think that is the secret of it. Accept life as it is, and try and do the right thing. What else can you say? If I thought about it, I'd probably give you a much better answer.
Right, last question. You know we have egg every day for breakfast.
Yes.
I've got to ask you, which do you think came first, the chicken or the egg?
That's a real trick question, isn't it? Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Well, that is interesting. I've never really thought about that. But if you think about it, I suppose you've got to have the chicken, haven't you?
I think the chicken.
You have to, because otherwise, if an egg came first, where did it come from? And what's going to happen to it? Whereas if a chicken came first, if in creation, because you see, it's a very philosophical thought to think about in actual fact, because we look out of the sky and we take everything for granted. I mean, you look at a human being, well, just take it one step back. Look at my wristwatch. Now, that wristwatch, you couldn't look at that and say, that just happened, could you?
What do you mean?
It wasn't made. Nobody made it.
Oh,
It just
right.
happened. You couldn't. Somebody had to make that wristwatch, didn't they?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have the hands and all the bits without a lot of hard work, would it? So nobody would look at a wristwatch and say that just happened.
Right.
Yet we look out there at the ocean, or just look at our hand. Yet some people say, oh, that just evolved. Well, that wristwatch would never just evolve, would it?
No.
And this is why there's a bit of confusion, I think. It's a good question to end on, actually, because there you've got this force. You see, in the past we've always talked about God, and there's been religions, and there's been more wars and deaths between religions than anything else all over the centuries, which is a wickedness, really, when you think about it. But there is I don't think it's an old man stuck in the sky, but I think there's a force which is in everything. I have said this before, which has involved everything, which holds everything together. I mean, scientists know that molecules, your hand or the table or everything's made up of molecules, they have to be held together by some force, and that force is what over the centuries become termed as God. But that force has got knowledge, it's got everything. I mean, I can go out and I can drive, as I'm sure you have, you've driven along, and just where you want to park, somebody pulls out and you pull in. Somebody's looking after you, my dear, and is looking after us all. Now,
That's it, thank you.
well, I don't know how the time's gone, but it's all right for time, that's good. Well, thank you very much for all the questions.
That's quite all right.
And very good questions, if I may say so. Even
I could have gone on.
Oh, you should have done. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much for looking, and I hope some of the questions were interesting and triggered something off. But thank you for looking, and we look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye, and God bless you all.